Welcome to the Spaztic Gaming's Guide to League of Legends. This time we're talking about the unloved but vital role of support. Let's start by examining what support does for the team. Supports help the range carry in bottom lane by aiding in fights, keeping wards in common ganking areas, and increasing the effectiveness of other members of the team. What determines a support is the skills that you can cast. The skills are not used for kills, but to heal, suppress enemies, add damage values or other stats to an ally, or just aid the player in combat. Here are some recommendations for champions based on skill sets and ease of use. For those who want to support but are new to the game, there is Taric, Sona, Soraka, and Nunu. They each have little to no skill shots, and heals making them simple to use but hard to master. Choose one of these if skill shots is not one of your strong suits. Once you have learned the role a bit better, you can move on to champions like Leona, Karma, Nami, and Janna. Each one of these champions uses a skill shot that involves a large amount of timing and teamwork, giving you the team edge if played correctly. Finally, when you are ready for some even more advanced skills and playstyles, you have the choice of Lulu, Nidalee, Zyra, and Alistar. All of these champion skills require a lot of awareness, timing, and practice, and overall skill to play at their peak. Choose one of these champions if you know how to support like the back of your hand so you can focus on skill shots, placement of items, and other necessary skills. There are many ways to build support, but the main thing to understand is that your source of income early game does not come from minions. In fact, it comes from gold per 5 items like Philosopher's Stone and Cage's Lucky Pick. As a support, you must play passively and not take minion kills away from your allies, unless they are not able to reach the minion in time or out of the lane. This allows your damage dealing ally to get the items he needs to stay in the lane longer, and force your opponents out of the lane to take the tower. You must build either Cage's Lucky Pick or Philosopher's Stone as soon as you can. This will keep money flowing into your hands while your allies get the minion kills. You also want to invest your money in wards, to keep vision on the map and preventing enemies from sneaking up on you and your allies. With the addition of the Sightstone and Ruby Sightstone in Season 3, this lets you get wards without having to sacrifice missing out on building major items. Some build more ability power to increase their heals and other abilities, some use cooldown reduction to keep those stuns and buffs on the team, others use items with auras to add some extra defensive stats and abilities. This is all determined by the champions on your team as well as the enemy composition. As a support, you want skills that can aid people, so choosing spells like Clairvoyance for vision, Heal and Clarity for extra health and mana in the heat of battle, as well as Exhaust to keep enemies slowed and reducing their damage in the fight. Use spells that complement the champion of choice. For example, Nunu. He has a target slow, an ability to heal himself, as well as an attack speed and movement buff increase for himself and an ally, with his ultimate dealing a large amount of AoE and a slow. Nunu does not have a heal or shielding ability for his allies, so picking something like Exhaust or Heal can definitely complement his skill set. For masteries, it all depends on the champion, but a few skills that are great for almost all support are Explore, Pickpocket, Scout, and Strength of Spirit. Explorer gives you a free 60-second ward at the start of the game, and the requirement mastery for it, Biscuiteer, grants a free item that allows for mana and health regeneration, allowing for more control over yourself and the lane. As a personal tip, use the free ward on an enemy bush at the start of the game. This will trick enemies into thinking you've placed an actual ward and giving you more time to control that bush. Pickpocket grants 5 gold on a melee auto attack and 3 for ranged attacks when hitting an enemy champion. You want to use this skill if you're a ranged support to help build gold. Since you're not attacking minions, you can poke in a close enemy and dealing a little bit of damage while you're doing it. But make sure you're not caught in a bad position, because sometimes this can lead into ganks or even death. Scout allows for 25% more sight for 3 seconds after a ward is placed. This is useful in an enemy jungle or scouting around just to see where enemies are in the map. Strength of Spirit is a passive mastery, granting bonus health regeneration every 400 mana you have. This allows for more free health while in the lane and conserving potions and healing spells while farming early game. Do some experimentation on how to build your masteries, and keep in mind these skills. It can either make or break your champion. One of the most important things a support can do is placing wards onto the map, so knowing where to place these wards is key. Here are some of the most common spots on Summoner's Rift. The spots in the blue are early game ward placement, and the spots in the red are middle to late game after the lane phase is over. In most situations, you will help jungle clear red or blue, depending on the champion. From there, you will be heading the bottom lane with your carry. You want to place a ward early on in the bush above the river. This gives vision to any enemy coming down the river to gank or enemies leaving the lane. This is vital considering that you want to keep yourself in a prime location in case of any situation, and making sure that you have control on who's in the lane at what time. The next area is the long strip of grass that is in front of your enemy tower. You want to place a ward in that bush to give vision to your carry as to see where the enemy is sitting to allow for aiming skill shots and counterplay. The final spot is the dragon. Placing Ward of the Dragon, again, allows vision inside of the river to see who is coming and leaving. This also allows you to defend Dragon in case of an enemy attack against him. Vision is power early game, and make sure that you keep an eye out on what's coming and going from your lane because your carry depends on it. Sometimes buying purple wards is a good idea to aid your jungle, allowing you to keep the enemy wards off the map and reducing their chance of being seen while ganking. After the lane phase is over, both teams are going to start roaming around the map and trying to get towers as well as enemy kills for the final win. Placing wards on vital areas like jungle buffs, Baron, and Dragon are vital, keeping control over your buffs in the jungle as well as the enemies, and preventing them from gaining Baron buff for an extensive push. Also placing wards at your fallen towers helps keep sight on minion waves as well as enemies moving between them. In combat, you want to stay in the back of the group. This allows you to get your supporting skills to the front lines without taking damage, as well as keeping the back guarded in case of any enemy ganks. Remember, your job is not to take kills from the team, but to help them win the fight. Use your crowd control effects on priority targets like mages and range carries to prevent them from dealing damage and running away. Try to adjust your heals to whoever's being focused the most and taking the largest amount of damage. These are just some tips. You will learn from experience when to use what type of skill on which target and what major fights are going to be like as a support. Just keep practicing and take these into consideration when you go into fights, and you'll learn how to be a proper support. One final tip, this one's a bit dark. If you're losing a team fight and forced to retreat, for the greater good of the team, you might have to sacrifice yourself to let the rest of the team escape. In most cases, a support is worth less gold than the other players on the team, so giving yourself away will prevent enemies from catching up with the rest of the team and allowing them to gain less gold and even preventing a pentakill. This is not an excuse to be dying in every single team fight, but something to consider while being a support. Protecting high targets is your job, and keeping them alive may be more important than you staying alive. If you have any tips you would like to share, feel free to add them to the comment section below. If you like this video, share it with your friends who are starting out. Make sure to subscribe and check out the Spaztic Gaming League of Legends podcast each week, where you can keep up to date with all the newest League of Legends news, champions, and commentary. This has been Water Elemental from Spaztic Gaming. See you next time.